Ever since my ex got remarried, he has been neglecting our daughter, and now that I'm taking her on a week-long birthday trip to Greece, he's decided that I need to bring his golden child stepdaughter too. Long-time lurker here. I have never thought I would have to post a Reddit post about this, but my family is divided, and I need to know whether or not I am being unreasonable. Throwaway for privacy reasons. For the last few months, I, 32F, have been planning my daughter's, Rose, fake name, 13th birthday. For her birthday, I have been planning a week-long trip to Greece. Rose has been obsessed with Greece for the longest time and has been begging to go there forever. And now I have finally saved up enough to give her a special birthday. The problem, however, is with my ex, Alex. Ever since I started planning the trip, he has been pushing for me to invite his stepdaughter, Mary. For some context, Alex and I broke up a few years after Rose was born due to cheating during the pregnancy. We lost touch for a year or two before he came back asking to be in Rose's life. I agreed to co-parent with him, and things were going well, all things considered. That is until he got married to his new wife, Sarah, who already had Mary from a previous relationship. Sarah and I get along really well, and so do Mary and Rose. The issue is not with his new family but with Alex. Ever since he got married to Sarah, all his attention has gone to Mary. At first, I understood. He needed her to get comfortable with him being her new dad. But it has reached the point where he barely even puts any effort into Rose. He has missed several of her important competitions and events as well as her birthday just because he had to take Mary to the dentist. Or Mary needed someone to pick her up from school, or he wanted to take Mary to the movies. All are excuses he has actually used when I confronted him about his absence in his daughter's life. I should clarify that I have no issues with Mary. I love the kid. But my issue is with Alex acting like she is his only daughter. I have talked to him about this several times, and he always uses the excuse that Mary needs a dad too. Before telling me to stop acting selfish and to appreciate he was in Rose's life at all. While planning for the birthday, I didn't invite Mary and Sarah deliberately so he could spend time with Rose on the trip. I did ask them beforehand if they were okay with it. Mary doesn't like traveling anyway, so they both agreed to not come. Alex, on the other hand, has been refusing to accept this and kept pushing for me to invite her anyway, saying it will be good for the girls to hang out. I have been refusing to budge, and it all came to a head last week when I asked Alex to confirm the dates and he said he wasn't coming unless I invited Mary. I obviously said no, but he didn't back down. I finally had enough and told him that if he wouldn't come unless Mary came, then he shouldn't bother coming at all. He tried to argue, but I haven't spoken to him since then. He has been blowing up my phone, but I honestly don't have the energy to deal with him. Some of my friends have been calling me asking why I uninvited him and saying I was acting like a batch. My mom agrees he was being unreasonable but also said I was being cruel by kicking him from the trip entirely. My sister, however, agrees that he shouldn't come at all. I was very sure of my decision before, but now I am starting to think I overreacted. I don't want Rose to think he doesn't care enough to come at all, but if I agree he will spend the entire trip with Mary, I know he will because he has done it before, and I don't think that is much better for Rose. Everyone is divided and I need to be sure whether or not I am overreacting. Am I being the jerk here? Update. Hello again, Reddit. I wasn't planning on updating, but since we're heading to Greece tomorrow, Rose asked me to share an update for those who were interested. Here it is. I hope those curious about how things turned out are able to see this. A lot has happened since my last post, so I'll try my best to explain everything clearly. This might be long. After my last post, I called Rose's therapist for advice on how to approach the situation. Following his advice, I sat down with Rose, explained everything, and even showed her the post. I reassured her repeatedly that none of this was her fault and apologized for making decisions without coming to her first. I told her to take her time processing everything and let her know I was ready to listen whenever she was. I'm glad I did so because a few days later, Rose came to me with her thoughts. Giving her time to reflect really helped her articulate herself and think everything through. She decided not to invite her dad on the trip but was against cutting him off completely. While I initially disagreed, I respected her decision and didn't push the matter. We discussed a lot of other things, but I'd prefer to keep those private. I also suggested family therapy, which she agreed to, and I've booked sessions for next year. She will still be going to individual therapy and so will I. I hope that it will help us communicate better and also help me with making better decisions in the future as her mom. Now, onto the drama. I reached out to Sarah and invited her over to talk about Alex. I showed her the post, including the comments concerned about Alex's relationship with Mary. While I didn't share those concerns, I wanted Sarah to decide for herself. As she read the post, she got to the part where I mentioned Alex's cheating. She was confused and asked what I meant. I explained how, during my pregnancy, I discovered texts and pictures from other women on Alex's phone. When confronted, he admitted to cheating because he wasn't ready to be a dad. That was why we broke up, and he disappeared for a while before returning to be part of Rose's life. Sarah was furious. According to her, Alex had told her I cheated on him, and that's why he wasn't involved in Rose's early years. According to him, it was because he wasn't sure if she was his. Hearing this, I was livid. I've never been with anyone other than my ex, romantically or otherwise. Between raising Rose and building a career, I never had the time. Alex's lie didn't even serve a purpose since Sarah and I had always gotten along. After our conversation, Sarah assured me she was going to talk to Mary and confront Alex. A few days later, she called me while crying, asking if Mary could stay with me for a while. I checked with Rose, and she was fine with it, so I agreed. From what Sarah told me, she confronted Alex about the real reason we broke up. During their argument, Alex was furious, possibly drunk. It is unclear, and hit her. Sarah had a visible bruise on her face when I arrived. I was and am still shocked by this. Alex had never been violent during our relationship and never even showed any signs of being violent. I'm still having trouble believing it's true, which I feel really bad about considering how he left Sarah. A huge chunk of her face is swollen and bruised really badly. He didn't just hit her, he punched her really hard that she said she thought he knocked her out. Sarah doesn't have family nearby, and Mary's father is away due to his job as a pilot. So, Mary has been staying with us while Sarah handles the situation. After hearing about what happened, Rose invited both Mary and Sarah on the trip, which is incredibly kind of her. My sister canceled anyway since she couldn't secure a sitter and didn't want to travel with the baby yet until she is older. So it will be me, Rose, Sarah, Mary, and my mom. It was the same amount of people who were coming originally, so I didn't have to make new accommodations for them. As far as I know, Sarah hasn't made a report or anything yet, so Alex hasn't been arrested. As for why Alex wanted Mary to join the trip, his mom unintentionally told me everything. About a week ago she called asking to see Rose before we left for the trip. I wasn't really keen on the idea, but I agreed as long as Alex wasn't there. During our visit, she rambled on about how Sarah's family made Alex feel unappreciated, how Mary didn't call him dad, and how Sarah's ex-husband was always showing him up. Basically going on a rant about her poor son who everyone is against these days. You heard that right, folks. This idiot was doing all this not because he cared about either of the girls, but he wanted to be better than Sarah's ex. I am honestly still freaking pissed when writing this. He ruined his relationship with our daughter and used Mary to make himself look better than Mary's dad. I don't want to believe that it's the case and that I am misunderstanding, but it is something Alex can and has done before. I even talked to Sarah about it and she agreed this might be the case. Although it is just a speculation based on what his mom has told me. It is the most likely case since Mary has denied him being inappropriate with her. I have cut off Alex, his mom, and told Rose we can revisit seeing him only after I have a legal custody agreement and child support. Both can take a long time, which I am grateful for. I'm hoping it will give Rose some time to think more about her relationship with her dad. Sarah has filed for divorce, which I am helping with. She and Mary have been through a lot. Thinking about how this whole thing started, it feels so silly. It's been a mess, but that's the update. Thank you to everyone who supported and advised me. Your insights were greatly appreciated. We're looking forward to our trip, and I'll be focusing on giving Rose the special birthday she deserves.